In World War II, the U.S. Navy fought on every ocean, above the waves, below the surface, and from the skies. From deck guns and anti-aircraft batteries to torpedoes, machine guns, and carrier-launched bombs, these were the American weapons that powered the United States Navy through the war. Let's start with service sidearms. Colt M, 1911, was the standard-issue sidearm of the U.S. Navy during World War II. Chambered in .45 ACP, it delivered heavy stopping power in a compact semi-automatic platform. Naval officers, shipboard security personnel, aviators, and landing party sailors carried it across every theater of war. Its 7-round magazine, single-action trigger, and proven reliability made it one of the most trusted handguns of the conflict. Colt M, 1911, A1, was the improved wartime variant of the original design, featuring a shorter trigger, improved grip safety, and better ergonomics. It became the most widely produced version during World War II. In naval service, it remained the primary sidearm for officers and specialists who required a dependable personal weapon aboard ships and during shore operations. Smith & Wesson Victory Model .38 Special. The Smith & Wesson Victory Model was issued primarily to naval aviators, shore patrol units, and rear area personnel. Chambered in .38 Special, it offered manageable recoil and simple double-action operation. Marked with a V prefix serial number, it became a common secondary sidearm throughout the Navy, particularly where lighter recoil and ease of use were preferred. Colt Official Police .38 Special revolver also saw use within the U.S. Navy, especially in stateside installations, security roles, and training environments. Chambered in .38 Special, it was durable, mechanically simple, and well-suited for non-frontline naval duties. While not as iconic as the M1911, it formed part of the broader sidearm inventory during the war. These handguns were not primary battlefield weapons, but aboard ships, in cockpits, and during landing operations, they provided sailors and officers with immediate close-range defense. Moving on to rifles and small arms. M1903 Springfield remained in the U.S. Navy service throughout World War II, particularly in training units, shipboard security roles, and early war deployments. Chambered in .30-06, it was a bolt-action rifle known for accuracy and durability. Though gradually replaced in frontline roles, it remained present wherever reliable long-range precision was required. M1 Garand became one of the most important rifles in American service during the war. Chambered in .30-06 and fed by an 8-round en-bloc clip, it provided semi-automatic firepower that surpassed most bolt-action rifles of the era. In the Navy, it equipped landing parties, naval security detachments, and sailors operating ashore in contested areas. M1 Carbine offered a lighter alternative to the Garand. Chambered in .30 carbine and fed from detachable box magazines, it was compact and easier to handle in confined shipboard spaces. It became widely issued to officers, radio men, vehicle crews, and support personnel who required mobility without sacrificing firepower. Remington Model 11 Shotgun. The Remington Model 11 semi-automatic shotgun served in naval security and guard roles. Primarily chambered in 12-gauge, it provided powerful close-range capability aboard ships and in dockyard installations. Its semi-automatic operation allowed faster follow-up shots compared to pump-action shotguns. Winchester Model 97 Trench Shotgun. The pump-action shotgun saw use in shipboard defense and amphibious operations. Known for reliability and rapid-fire capability, it was effective at short range, particularly in boarding scenarios or close-quarters combat. Winchester Model 12 Shotgun was another pump-action shotgun employed by naval forces. Durable and smooth operating, it served in guard duty, landing operations, and base security assignments throughout the war. But these rifles and shotguns armed sailors when naval combat extended beyond the deck of a ship. Up next, submachine guns. Thompson M, 1928, A1, was one of the earliest submachine guns issued to the U.S. Navy personnel during World War II. Chambered in .45 ACP, it provided heavy, close-range firepower. Its solid steel construction made it durable, but also heavy. In naval service, it equipped security detachments, shipboard defense teams, and early landing forces operating in confined environments. Thompson M1 was a simplified wartime version of the earlier 1928 A1. Designed for faster and more economical production, it eliminated certain machining features while retaining the same 45A CP chambering. It became more common as wartime manufacturing expanded and continued to serve in naval landing operations and shipboard security roles. Thompson M1A1. The M1A1 variant further streamlined production by replacing the separate firing pin with a fixed design. This reduced complexity and improved reliability in mass production. In Navy service, it remained a trusted close-quarters weapon during amphibious assaults and port security operations. Reesing M50 was adopted in limited numbers by U.S. naval forces early in the war. Chambered in 45 ACP, it was lighter than the Thompson and easier to manufacture. However, though its performance in harsh environments proved less consistent, and it gradually lost favor compared to more rugged designs. Reesing M55. The Reesing M55 was a folding stock variant of the M50, intended for more compact carry. It saw limited naval service before being phased out in favor of more reliable submachine guns. Its presence reflects the Navy's early war efforts to equip expanding forces quickly. These submachine guns gave naval personnel automatic firepower in confined spaces, aboard ships, during boarding actions, and in amphibious landings. Now came the machine guns. Browning M 1919 30 caliber was a belt-fed, air-cooled machine gun chambered in 30-06. It saw extensive use aboard ships for defensive fire and on naval landing craft during amphibious operations. Reliable and relatively lightweight compared to heavier systems, it provided sustained automatic fire against enemy personnel and light targets. Browning M250 caliber machine gun became one of the most important defensive weapons of the U.S. Navy. Mounted on ships, patrol boats, landing craft, and aircraft, it delivered powerful long-range fire against aircraft, small vessels, and lightly armored targets. Its durability and stopping power made it a staple of naval defense throughout the war. Browning M 1917 30 caliber water-cooled was a water-cooled, belt-fed machine gun chambered in 30-06. Though heavier than the M 1919, it offered sustained fire capability and saw use in fixed defensive positions and certain naval installations. Its design allowed prolonged firing without overheating. These machine guns formed the backbone of close-range naval defensive fire. Up next, naval anti-aircraft weapons. Oerlikon 20mm anti-aircraft gun. They became one of the most widely mounted anti-aircraft guns in the U.S. Navy service. Installed on destroyers, cruisers, carriers, and smaller vessels, it provided rapid fire defense against low-flying aircraft. Its relatively light weight allowed flexible placement across decks, making it a critical close-range shield against enemy air attacks. Bofor's 40mm anti-aircraft gun became the Navy's primary medium anti-aircraft weapon. With greater range and hitting power than the 20mm, it was highly effective against dive bombers and torpedo aircraft. Mounted in single, twin, and quad configurations, it formed the core of shipboard air defense throughout the latter half of the war. Now we are moving on to torpedoes. Mark 14 torpedo. Mark 14 was the primary submarine-launched torpedo of the U.S. Navy early in World War II. Designed for long-range engagement, it carried a powerful warhead intended to cripple enemy warships and merchant vessels. However, early in the war, it suffered from depth control and detonator problems, which significantly reduced effectiveness until technical corrections were made. Mark 15 torpedo was the surface ship counterpart to the Mark 14, primarily used by destroyers. It shared similar propulsion and warhead design. Like the Mark 14, though it experienced early reliability issues, but remained a key anti-ship weapon throughout the war. Mark 13 aerial torpedo, an airdrop torpedo used by the U.S. Navy aircraft. Early in the war, it performed poorly at high-speed drops, but modifications improved its reliability and allowed it to be used effectively in later carrier-based attacks. Mark 18 electric torpedo, an electrically powered submarine torpedo introduced later in the war. Unlike steam-driven torpedoes, it left no visible wake, reducing the chance of detection. It helped address some of the early war shortcomings of earlier torpedo designs. These torpedoes became decisive offensive weapons in submarine warfare and carrier-based naval combat. Finally, depth charges and anti-submarine weapons. Mark VI depth charge, one of the primary anti-submarine weapons used by the U.S. Navy, dropped from the stern of destroyers and escort vessels. It was designed to detonate at preset depths, creating powerful underwater shockwaves capable of damaging or destroying submerged submarines. Mark IX depth charge was a later and more powerful depth charge, carrying a larger explosive payload than earlier models. It was used extensively in anti-submarine patrols, particularly in the Atlantic, where convoy protection against German U-boats became a critical mission. Hedgehog anti-submarine mortar. It was a forward-firing anti-submarine weapon that launched multiple small contact-fused projectiles ahead of a ship. Unlike depth charges, which exploded at preset depths, Hedgehog rounds detonated only upon contact with a submarine hull. This reduced the loss of sonar contact during attack runs and improved kill probability. These weapons form the backbone of American anti-submarine warfare, protecting convoys and hunting enemy submarines across the Atlantic and Pacific.